is the Patriots secondary up to the challenge that is the Minnesota Vikings? This is the Foxborough Report, brought to you by 1in100. For cheap Patriots tickets and Celtics tickets, check out 1in100.co. That's 1in100.co. You could get into the Garden or Gillette Stadium for the price of a pizza or a large beer. Evan Lazar, it's going to be tough for the Patriots this week.
Sure.
We saw what looked like a revamped Patriots defense against the Jets, but that was the Jets.
Yeah.
This is a whole new challenge. Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen. Let's start there. Before we even get to the Patriots defense, I know Diggs is probably the better player, but who presents more of a game planning challenge?
Well, I think they're very close, and Thielen's probably having a better season this year, but Diggs is maybe a little bit of better route runner, more explosive player in the open field especially. But I think that from a game plan standpoint, it's Thielen that really presents an interesting challenge because he can move all over the formation. He can play inside, he plays in the slot about 60% of the time. That means he plays outside about 40% of the time. So thank you. So you never know where he's going to be really down to down, snap to snap. So identifying where he's going to be at is very difficult. Whereas with Stephon Diggs, they move him inside a little bit too, but it's certainly less than Thielen. So he's more of an outside perimeter threat, still a great player, but you kind of know where he's going to be at and what kind of routes he's going to run. Whereas with Thielen, they use him as much more of a game plan type player, especially on third down.
So the way we've seen them play it mostly this year, Stephon Gilmore will get his assignment, he'll shadow that guy, and then they get creative after that.
Yep.
Who's the shadow this week?
Well, I've gone back and forth with this one because it's difficult to really say because Diggs is more the guy that's on the perimeter most of the time, like I said, and Gilmore is more comfortable, I would say, on the outside than he is on the inside. When he got moved in on the inside against Corey Davis against the Titans, he had a lot of trouble staying with Davis, but body type wise, Gilmore's a better fit against Thielen, who's the bigger player. So I don't necessarily know if this is a one-on-one matchup, like he's going to get this guy in shadow. I don't know if the Patriots shadow in this game. I could see them playing sides and kind of letting the Vikings dictate the matchup, but doing some interesting stuff that we'll get to here in a second in the back end of the secondary with their safeties.
Well, I think so too. Just to kind of add on to that point, you have it on tape now how Gilmore struggles in the slot. If I'm an NFL team, if I'm the Vikings or the Dolphins or whoever, and I see that Gilmore has that shadow, right, I'm just calling plays where I move that guy into the slot and force Gilmore to play in the slot. So the tape of the Tennessee Titans game may force the Patriots to play sides more coming up against Minnesota, but let's move on from there. After Gilmore, you still have either Thielen or Diggs to deal with, and they have some other good pass catchers as well, including the tight end.
Robinson, Kyle Rudolph.
Robinson, right.
Yeah.
So what does it look like, after Gilmore? We saw I almost said the secondary. Those guys below Gilmore have trouble last week. How are they going to handle that?
Well, I think that's the biggest question mark for me moving forward is not Jason McCourty and Stephon Gilmore, but the third cornerback spot. Today's NFL, obviously, you're in that nickel package with three corners almost 60% of the time nowadays. So is it going to be just covered J.C. Jackson? Is it going to be Duke Dawson? Is Jonathan Jones going to get another stab at it after a tough game against the Jets? That third cornerback spot is very much on my radar because that's really where they take a pretty big dip, and a lot of the time with the way that they play coverage, that third cornerback spot is man-to-man without much help because they're allocating the help elsewhere to the outside guys, to a guy like Anunwa or Robbie Anderson or whoever it may be. This week obviously different guys, but that one-on-one matchup with that third corner is often a secondary receiver, a guy like an Aldrick Robinson versus one of the Patriots depth corners, and that sometimes is where these games are won and lost. We want to make a big deal out of Thielen and Diggs and these top flight receivers, Antonio Brown in a few weeks. That's definitely true, but sometimes it's that third guy that ends up getting you, and that's what happened against the Jets with Jermaine Kearse.
And Duke Dawson sat last week. Right, he was inactive his first game, eligible to be back. Do you think, how much does he factor into the game plan this week?
I think he factors in. I don't know if he's going to play. I'm still hesitant to say that he's going to play, but I will say that I do think that he has a very good chance to win that slot cornerback spot from Jonathan Jones if he can show it on the practice field. I think that spot is very squarely up for grabs right now between J.C. Jackson maybe bumping outside and Jason McCourty moving in, or having Duke Dawson replace Jonathan Jones. One way or another, I think that spot is a spot that they're going to look to elevate and kind of improve upon in the next couple of weeks.
Is this the Patriots secondary's toughest test of the year? They had the Chiefs, they had the Packers, they will have the Steelers in a couple of weeks, Juju and Antonio Brown, but How does this stack up?
I would say that the Chiefs were a little bit tougher, and I think the main reason why is that Tyreek Hill is faster than every human alive.
Tyreek Hill is just better than anybody else on that list.
I know. Yeah. I mean, Antonio Brown's probably better than Tyreek Hill is.
See, I'm starting to rethink that.
I think it's the game-breaking speed that Tyreek Hill has. That Tony Brown obviously has too. But I think with the Chiefs, it's not. Kyle Rudolph's a good player. Obviously, Aldrick Robinson is an okay player, but I think the depth of the Chiefs is better, and they have a wider array of pass catchers with guys like Travis Kelce and Chris Conley and Sammy Watkins. And I think that this Vikings offense isn't quite up to snuff with the Kansas City offense.
Put yourself in Bill Belichick's hoodie. How would you defend the Minnesota Vikings this weekend? Let us know in the comments down below or on Twitter at Patriots CLNS. This has been the Fox Bear Report, brought to you by 1in100. For Patriots and Celtics tickets for the price of a beer, check out 1in100.co. Again, you can find them at 1in100.co. From Gillette Stadium, he's Evan Lazar. I'm Alex Barth for CLNS.